Hi, I'm Dana, and whenever I've spoken about wanting support as an autistic person, I get lots of comments asking what kind of support I want. And I do honestly, like, the vast majority of them are a bit nasty, to be honest. It's people being like, oh, so you want someone to come in every day, where's the money for this, eh? And that's not what I want for a start. But I do think that some of them are actually genuine comments from people who also need support and don't really know what they're supposed to ask for, what they might benefit from. So as much as some of the comments really annoy me and I would really like to answer those, I'm going to focus on the ones that I do think are genuine and that actually need a little bit of help with knowing what to ask for and what they'd benefit from. So I've got a little list of what I would like and what I think would help is like daily, like not daily, but regular support for me as an autistic person to be able to like live my best life. So I've tried to start sort of from the bottom up with my thought process of like what would actually allow me to like be able to get a job and be a functioning member of society and feel able to actually do things day to day in my life. So the very first thing is helping us find suitable accommodation, a suitable place to live. As always, these are coming from my experience and what I think would help me, and I don't know about other people's situations and what would help other people and everything else. I just know about myself. And for me, it's very much I went from living with my parents, which was a very neglectful and often quite abusive situation, to living in a very abusive situation with an abusive partner for 9 years, to now living in this house where my housemate's often just very problematic and difficult to deal with and quite unreasonable. And I don't feel like I've ever lived in a place where it's not some sort of like fight or flight instinct anytime someone else is around. And that's not to say I necessarily want to live alone. Like, my next plan is to move in with one of my best friends, and I do think that's going to be a very, very nice situation. But I could really do with help finding a suitable place to live. I'd have probably left my abusive relationship a lot sooner if I felt like I had somewhere to live if I left him, And I regularly get comments from you guys as well saying like, you don't know what you're going to do when your parents pass, you don't know what you're going to do if this happens, you don't know what you're going to do about this, your current living situation is not actually suitable for you. I feel like just having a comfortable, safe place to live is the first struggle that a lot of autistic people are facing, and it's definitely the first issue that I face in life. It's just very, very difficult to do things that make me anxious already, like just in general. It's then all the more difficult when I don't feel like I have any time or place that I don't feel anxious. There's never a place where I don't feel like it's fight or flight, like I have to be turned on and ready to deal with stuff. It very much feels like, other than the first like 3 months when I first moved in and everything was okay, I have not, outside of those 3 months, had any point in my life where I don't live in a constant state of anxiety and fight or flight and just have a very difficult time coping with being alive, partially due to my living situation. And that's not even getting into the fact that I don't remember the last time I lived in a house that didn't have some sort of mould or damp issue. Like, I have a leak in my bedroom, I have black mould on my wall, I have black mould in the bathroom. My last house was like this, the house before was like this. I've not ever lived in a place that feels safe, like on an emotional, personal level, or in like a structural, no issues with the house kind of level. And having assistance to find somewhere that is actually suitable in those ways would make so much of my life so much easier. And as I say, I am trying to do that with my next living situation that'll be coming up in a couple of months, but it's been my entire life. I'm 27 years old and I haven't had a place to live that feels safe and suitable for me. Like, my housemate will send me into meltdowns by leaving the entire house an absolute tip, and then while I'm trying to calm down with music, he'll be messaging me like, turn that down, you're such a bully. It feels impossible to just live anywhere. The next most basic thing after shelter is food. And it's one of those things where whenever I've talked about this, people are like, oh, get some cooking lessons. Oh, so you want someone to come in and cook for you every day? And no, that's not what I want at all. That would really, really annoy me. I like having freedom with my food. I already know how to cook, and when it's the right time and I have other things, like other accommodations in place to help me, I really, really enjoy cooking. If I have a friend coming over and I'm like, what are you craving? And they're like, lasagna. I'm like, awesome. It's so easy for me to make a lasagna. I know exactly what I'm doing. I haven't had to make the mental decisions of like, what am I going to cook? I can cook. What I would like is support in regards to this is a nutritionist to help me make a meal plan, and not necessarily like a meal plan, but just like, here's 20-25 meals that are nutritionally sound, that aren't too difficult to cook, that don't take too much energy. Here's a list of the ingredients that you have to buy in order to cook these meals. Help with that kind of thing, that type of support. And quite often when it comes to autistic support, this is a bit of a tangent, but people are quite often like, oh, well, the funding, well, the money. And it's like, this is something that would happen probably just once in general. Once a year would be nice, being able to update it and go through it and see what's going on. But just once, if I could have someone tell me this is what you need to eat to be healthy, because I don't feel like I get the nutritional value that I need. I don't feel like I eat enough vegetables, enough fruit, enough. I don't know how to put a healthy meal together. I don't know portion sizes, you know, a lot of that type of thing is a mystery to me. If I could just once have someone sit me down and be like, here's the kind of thing you should be eating, here's, like I say, like 20-25 meals that you can make on rotation that are healthy, that fill with everything you need, that do the job. And because I'm autistic, and one of the other like big barriers towards me actually getting around to cooking and being able to eat is the shopping element. I really struggle to be like, this is what I need, this is what I need, going and actually doing the shop. If I could have someone who's looked at that meal plan, is like, if you want to make, like, how do I explain this? You know how, like, if you buy broccoli, I'm not going to eat an entire head of broccoli in one meal. So if someone could then be like, if you got this and if you ate this and this, then you can buy these ingredients and match both things, that kind of thing. And then I could just do an online shop and not have to worry about it. But because of the way that I'm currently living and not having any support in regards to that, I just go to Asda like once every 2 days and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to get, I don't know what to do. And I just grab stuff and then have to try and make a meal out of it. And then that's just so much extra mental energy that I don't have, you know? It gets me so overwhelmed. I'm eating one meal a day if I'm lucky, and just having someone once sit me down and go through that kind of thing with me would be the exact type of support I need to be able to actually go forward and eat better, eat properly, you know. And that would obviously help me physically, mentally, like in a lot of ways. Eating properly is very, very important. And I just don't know how to do it, and I could really do with some support to be able to do so. So they're the things that are sort of like a big one-off thing. And then the more regular support that I would find helpful, and that I honestly think that I do need as a level 2 diagnosed autistic person. I don't like having levels, I don't like it all being like that, but I also am aware that in order to get the help that I need, I do need to like have the proof of like, I have this type of autism, because I was told that I have substantial support needs and then I've been left with no support. So beyond those things, I would also like monthly support for help with bills, appointments, phone calls, moving house, shopping, all of that kind of stuff. All the stuff that like you don't have to do every day, it doesn't come around all the time, but like I have various bits of paperwork for like appointments I need to make and things I need to phone up and things that I need to do, and I have like every intention of doing them. But then I sit down to do them and it's so overwhelming to make the phone calls and to do this thing and to do that thing. And if I've made one phone call in a day, I cannot manage another one. I will just go non-verbal and not actually be able to speak to them. It's quite a disaster for me. And it does feel like, because I'm only able to do things a little bit at a time, a little bit at the time, I'm never doing enough to actually like crack into it, you know. There's always just more and more piling up at the end that I don't get around to. So if I could just once a month have someone come in and be like, okay, we're doing these 3 phone calls, we're making this appointment, we're gonna sort your online shop, and then I'm gonna go, that would be everything. That would sort out so many of the things that I just have crippling anxiety around, that I'm sat in my house all day like being anxious about and not being able to focus or do anything else because I know I need to do that thing. You know, it would just take so much pressure and anxiety off me. And it's one of those things where I'm aware that that could be said for like basically anybody. Having someone do things for you does make life easier, but it's the thing of like, I'm autistic and actually like mentally, physically just, I cannot keep up with these things in the way that I see other people being able to. And even having reminders to just like check how much I need to pay for my council tax, check how much this is, ask about this, all that type of thing. If someone could just do it for me, I would be able to do so much more on the day to day because I wouldn't be dreading the things that I need to do. And the other monthly thing that I would like, the more like regular support, would be monthly mental health support in the form of some sort of like speaking, talking, processing, current life therapy. I've asked for this time and time and time again, and it's one of those things where I'm aware that like the funding isn't there and it's the system, like I get it, but also I've said repeatedly like, this is what I think would allow me to cope with life, this is what I think would be the thing that lets me actually be able to function and do things. And I've gone to my GP repeatedly and said this and been sent to like CBT and various other types of therapy that aren't what I'm asking for and don't actually help me personally. And people are always like, well, did you try hard enough, did you do this, have you tried this? And like, I've gone into every type of therapy, every type of group, every type of whatever other type of support I've been given. As much as I might be like, God, this isn't what I wanted, I still go into it and put my all into it and try my best. And I'm like, maybe though, you know, I don't know for sure until I've tried something if it's going to help or not. So I'm going to try my absolute best and put my all into it and see if it helps. And it hasn't. And it's one of those things where a lot of the situations that I've been in, a lot of the just general life things that happen to me and that go on around me and that I'm a part of, I don't feel like I process any of it. I feel like I forget and I'm very fuzzy on like huge chunks of my life because it's just so difficult as an autistic person to process it all and to like fully have a grasp on it and have a concept of like that is reality. And there was one point in my life where I did manage to find a therapist that I could afford, that was a private therapist that I saw once every 2 weeks, and that did feel a little bit much for me. I didn't particularly like seeing them that often, but just once a month I would like to be able to sit down with someone for an hour and be like, I socialised in this way today, this month, I did this month, I feel like this month, I feel like this about this thing this month, and have someone help me actually process those are the events that have happened, those are the things that I've done, those are the things that I've said and whatever else, because I don't feel like I'm able to process anything. And then situations blow up in my face and I'm like, oh, I should have seen this coming from like X, Y and Z happening the other month. But I didn't process it, so I don't see that thing. So everything that happens to me feels like a great big massive surprise, because I have none of like the forethought and social imagination, the processing skills to be able to foresee anything. And like, I'm not saying I'm going to become psychic if I have a bit of therapy, you know, but I think that I would be able to process situations and react to things and foresee things coming more similarly to the way that neurotypicals are able to if I had a monthly support to help me do that. You know, like, do I think it would have stopped me from being abused? No. Do I think I probably would have been able to leave abusive situations earlier if I'd had that? Yeah. Like, yeah. And a lot of the times when I have been able to access that type of support through the NHS or through local charities and the like, it's really frustrated me, because I'm there trying to talk about my current life because I'm scared it's all about to go to shit, and they're like, so what was your dad like? What was your home life like as a child? And I'm like, I know I have plenty of childhood trauma. I've unpacked and dealt with that a lot. That's not what I need to talk about right now, you know? Like, I feel like a lot of times people think that it's very much like I'm gonna go to therapy and all my trauma will be fixed and then I'll be a normal person. And it's like, no, I need to just actually understand what is happening in my life in order to behave more like a normal person. And I also don't think that we should all be aiming for like normal person, because what the shit is normal? I've never met a normal person, even people that aren't autistic or don't have a neurodivergence. Like, none of them seem like normal in the way that we think of. But, you know, that's a different tangent. You know, I suppose it's more that I would be able to react in the expected ways to not have situations blow up as much as they do for me. And all of this is very much the case of like, I understand that a lot of the funding isn't there. I understand that, like, you know, my mum had cancer. I've seen the way that like the waiting list for things that people really, really freaking need are insane. This isn't a case of like, I think I should get this instead of other people getting something. It's a case of like, I think that the system should be fixed so that people can actually receive the things that they need. And as aware as I am that that system isn't currently in place and that things aren't currently working, especially within the UK, I don't feel like that means that I should just be left to struggle and scrape by and always feel like I'm like just about managing to hang on, you know? Just to entirely make my point, that's my housemate playing really loud music, so that's fabulous. Because it's bullying if I do that, but it's actually really cool and chill if he does, you know? It's fabulous, it's great. But it is also one of those things where like the Tories have started pushing their whole like, all the disabled people should work, and then like all of the little like EDL dickheads are like, oh yeah, fuck the disabled people, they should have a job. And it's like, well, if I was being offered support like this where I can actually feel like I have a handle on my life and I don't have an extreme overwhelming anxiety all the time, that means it's difficult to even leave my house, never mind speak to people out there, I'd probably be able to get at least a part-time job. You know, I would have a much more functioning societally life if I had support to help me do so. And it's also like, as much as some, like, obviously there are autistic people out there who do need someone to come in every day and help them cook and help them clean and help them do whatever else they need help with. I'm not one of those people. I don't need someone coming in every day, and it would frankly really do my fucking head in. I don't want to see people every day. Like, that is not the type of support that I need personally. And especially for like people that watch my videos and the people that are like part of the autistic community online, I think for most of us that's not the type of support that we need. But it's very difficult to like actually find any talk of the support that would help us, because for the vast majority of us, support just is not there. And it's one of those things where I so often, when I've tried to access support, feel like I'm just asking the wrong questions, or like even sometimes they will specifically ask like, well, what do you want? And I've just been like, I don't know. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm coming to you and asking the professional, you know? But they've asked me many times. So I think it'll be helpful for me in future to just have this and be able to be like, actually, this is what I want. So fingers crossed for me for that. But I also do hope that it helps some of you guys, even if it's just like being able to express needs to like the people around you or whatever else, to gain some sort of accommodation that goes in line with this or whatever, you know. I'm just trying to be helpful. I don't know how helpful I ever really am, but I am going to go now because I need to wear my headphones and try not to have a meltdown, okay? Oh shit. So you can follow me here. I post 3 times a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays. I also post over on TikTok near daily and on Instagram occasionally. You can also follow me over on Patreon, where you can pay to get videos a little bit earlier than everyone else. And if you wanted to just donate me money because you're nice like that, you can do that on Ko-fi. All of it will be linked down below, but there's never any pressure to give me money. You're watching the video and that's good enough for me. So whoever you are and wherever you are, if you have a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.